Okay, everyone, welcome back. This is the crash course in the Italian wine region of Sardinia. In English, they call it Sardinia. I prefer to call it Sardegna. It's a little sexier, more Italian, authentic. So in this video, you're going to learn exactly what makes Sardinia a unique wine-producing region, what types of Sardinian wines are out there, and where you should begin your journey in tasting these wines. I'm Tony Margiotta. I'm a wine importer and author of Hidden Gems of Italy. And my life's mission is to look for world-class Italian wines, handcrafted from small artisanal winemakers. My family's from a small village in the Molise region of southern Italy, and I've been traveling to Italy for 20 years, immersing myself in Italian food, wine, and culture. So, this is where the island of Sardinia is. It's the second biggest island off the coast of Italy after Sicily. It's a little bit less known than Sicily, but it is very, very unique. It has a very, very long history of culture, of wine culture. There was a group of people called the Nuragic people, the Nuragic Civilization. They sort of disappeared around 3,000 years ago. But they had a very, very long run between 3,000 and 8,000 years ago. But for some reason, they sort of disappeared. We don't know exactly what happened to them, at least not yet. But they did leave some ruins for us to go back and enjoy and study. And what we learned was, this was an excavation that happened a couple of years ago. What we learned was this was a Nuragic refrigerator, underground refrigerator. And down there, this group of scientists found a bunch of prehistoric grape seeds used for winemaking. And they did a test to test the DNA of these seeds. And it turned out to be Cannonau, which is one of Sardinia's native grape varietals. And what is really exciting about this discovery is that it basically says, since these seeds are over 3,000 years old, that Sardinia is probably the oldest wine culture in the Mediterranean. I'll repeat that again, the oldest wine culture in the Mediterranean. And that has some implications, okay? So how should you think about Sardinian wine? Well, just like any other region, you have your native grape varietals, and then you've got your appellations or sub-regions. So you've heard of Cabernet and Merlot and Sauvignon Blanc. Those are international grape varietals that originated from France. Those are not Italian. So let's give you a list of native Sardinian grapes. From the whites, there's Vermentino, Semidano, Nuragic, Moscato, and Malvasia. And I just want to point out for a second that Vermentino is a white grape varietal that is also found on mainland Italy. You can find it in Tuscany. But in my opinion, and in others' opinion, Vermentino is the best in Sardinia by far. So that would, I highly recommend you try that varietal first. Semidano is 100% Sardinian. You're not going to find that anywhere else, as well as Nuragic. Now, I'd also point out that Moscato and Malvasia, both of those varietals you can find all over mainland Italy. But those two grape varietals are very special because they both have very, very large families of grapes, which is why you find them all over Italy. But it's important, if you want to explore those grape varietals, I highly recommend you taste those varietals in different parts of Italy. And Sardinia is certainly one of them. Now with the reds, you have Cannonau, which is sort of the king of the red varietals in Sardinia. You have Carignano, Cagnulari, and then Monica. And now I just gave you a short list of native grape varietals from Sardinia. They have many, many more, but I think this is plenty to start out with. These are the main ones. And then, you know, if you fall in love with Sardinian wines, I will create another video where I give you a list of some more rare native grape varietals. Then we have the appellation map. These are all the wine zones, the sub-regions that I keep talking about, the sub-regions of Sardinia. And what I recommend, now, I mean, I'm going to recommend some appellations here, but I'd like to point out that some of these appellations sort of count for all over the island. So, for example, I'll give you this first one here, Vermentino di Gallura, DOCG. Notice this is the only DOCG on the list here. That is a cru of Vermentino wines, and it pretty much, you can only find it in this northern part here, this this green area. That's the cru area, Vermentino di Gallura, DOCG. Now, if it says instead, right below it, you see how it says Vermentino di Sardegna, DOC? You can pretty much find Vermentino di Sardegna anywhere on this island. So it includes basically the whole island of Sardinia. All right, so it's sort of a regional appellation. I would say, if you can, explore tasting both of them. They're, you know, you can't go wrong. Vermentino from Sardinia, whether it's from the cru area of Gallura or it's from somewhere else on the island, it's a fascinating wine. I go every summer to Sardinia, so it's one of my favorite white wines. Then there's Cannonau di Sardegna, DOC, which is, again, like the Vermentino di Sardegna. It's a regional appellation. You can find Cannonau all over the island of Sardinia. Then you have Carignano del Sulcis, DOC, which is a little bit more specific appellation. Let's take a look and see if I can show you. Yeah, I mean, it's, let's see, where are we looking at here? So Carignano del Sulcis, yes, it is a smaller appellation. If you look down here in the bottom southwestern part, this yellow area, including these two little islands, this is where they make Carignano del Sulcis, a very, very dry red wine. It's a serious dry red. I highly recommend you have it only with food, but it's a fascinating wine. Then there's Alghero DOC, which is made with the Cagnulari grape, and that's found in the northwestern part of Sardinia, right here in the pink. Okay, very specific appellation. So what's the first wine you should try? I highly recommend you try this one. This is from the Attaruia winery. This is their Vermentino di Sardegna, DOC. It's full-bodied, it's super crisp, lots of exotic fruits. You can smell the Mediterranean Sea on the nose, very aromatic, very serious white wine, fantastic. And then the first red that you should try from the same vineyard, Attaruia, Vigna Sorella, Cannonau di Sardegna. You've got to try a Cannonau if you've never had one. If you're already familiar with Cannonau, I highly recommend you seek this one out. They only make 6,000 bottles a year. It's made by hand, and it comes from one of the cru areas of Cannonau on the island. Another added benefit, real quick before I let you go, is that a book came out a few years ago called The Blue Zones, which documents people who live to be 100 years old. And there are about 5 or 6 different blue zones where throughout the world where people live a very long and healthy life. And Sardinia happens to be one of those places. And they claim that obviously it's lifestyle and it's a little bit of diet as well. It's diet and lifestyle. And that the Cannonau is their red wine that's part of the local diet. So they say in Sardinia, if you want to live to be 100, you have to drink Cannonau. So make sure you subscribe to Gladiator Wine TV so you don't miss out on the new videos about artisanal Italian wine and much more. And remember, great wines are not made in great numbers.